All right, this is game 2 of the third match, and I have Seth with me once again to commentate on this game. He is playing on the right side as Kate, and how about we just go right into the deck again? Do you want to give some background on it?
Yeah. So this is the pretty much just a refinement of the Kate deck that I've been playing since regionals last year. It's running primarily fixed breakers, Corroder, Mimic, Yogg, with lots and lots of little things to back it up. So it has Sharpshooter, it has Atman, it has Parasite, Data Sucker, and I think this version may not have the Femme Fatale, but previous versions did. And it's running voice pad with a bunch of events.
Okay. So you got Dirty Laundry and maybe Quality Times and what other
Dirty Laundry, Quality Times, everything but Lucky Find. I tested a previous version with Lucky Find, but I preferred being able to play the Parasites.
Yeah, fair enough.
Since Lucky Find, even though it is a really powerful economy card, and with Voice Pad is probably the best single card economy in runner side Netrunner right now, it is influence, and the Parasites are much more important.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's I've been playing a prepaid for about a week or two here, and I have Lucky Finds in there, and they are wonderful to see, but yeah, there's no Parasites in that deck, so that makes sense. All right, so it looked like you start off with self-modifying code. I saw a Plascrete, which you're probably going to like. So he's playing Grendel here on the left, and you're going to need that Plascrete.
Yes, so viewers may know Martin Presley. He won a plugged-in tour. I came in second at the same plugged-in tour, just to toot my own horn, but he won a plugged-in tour with the deck he invented with Wayland Supermodernism, which is the deck that he invented and popularized on Board Game Geek. It is this fast aggro switch deck that doesn't fast advance, but advances very quickly behind a remote, and takes advantage of the fact that as Wayland, it can just kill you out of nowhere. To force Smart Runner to kill Dumb Runners, because they run and then they get killed by Sea Scorched, Double Scorched. Or to force Smart Runners to slow down, so they're too slow to win the game.
So let's just cover some of the events that just happened. So first of all, you diesel and you play down a Plascrete just right off the start. You're not screwing around.
Yep,
and then you go into HQ a couple times and you get the hostile takeover. So that's great to see. That's going to slow down his ability to play Archer. Did you just... Is that your discard pile there?
Yes,
your Mimic,
because that's my discard. Because I have Same Old Thing and Clone Chip, I have been experimenting with different ways to sort my discard so that my opponent and me can see what's in there, and we don't spend time having to look through one pile of cards for the trash.
Fair enough. So what are you thinking now with this remote? What do you think's behind the Chimera?
I figure there's a very good chance that's an agenda. A very good chance that's an agenda. And I believe he names Sentry.
Interesting.
He names Sentry. So I play a Clone Chip. I Clone Chip out the Mimic and break it.
Interesting. I wonder why he chose Sentry. Maybe it was just a misplay, or you didn't have the Clone Chip.
I hadn't played the Clone Chip.
Okay, fair enough.
Since the Mimic is in the graveyard, it's the harder one to get to, basically.
Sure. He knows you don't have the Mimic in hand. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's getting the subliminal messaging going. He has a big pile of money. So
that's what Grendel does. If I hadn't had the Plascrete in my opening hand, I wouldn't have been able to make those runs. Because without the Plascrete against that pile of money, he could have killed me either of these two turns if he just had the combo in hand.
Yeah, taking a big risk. So you got rid of a false lead and a hostile takeover. Not a lot of points. Those are very powerful agendas for Grendel. So that's a lot of opportunity you've taken away from him.
Now that's one of the advantages of Supermodernism is you have all these one-point agendas that aren't worth that much to the runner, but they really need to get rid of them because they're worth a ton to you. If he has false lead scored and you hit a snare, it had better be on your first click, or you're in some serious trouble.
Okay, so you build up some money that turn, put down a Data Sucker, and you go in Dirty Laundry. And so that was big turn of events for you. I mean, compared to his Monte Pal, sure, but you just got a lot of economy there.
Yeah, as long as I have the Blastcreed out and I keep my hand at 4 cards, I'm not particularly worried about how much money he has. He can use it to res ice, but I'm not really worried about his ice.
Again, he still has not iced up HQ, but he does score a hostile takeover there, so you have another bad publicity to work with, and you have to watch out for Archer now.
Yeah. And you're gonna notice me missing bad publicity credits a few times. I've been working on slowing down my play because I play too quickly. But,
ooh, I love this play here.
Yeah.
So going in HQ with the Imp to go take out one of those
Imp is just such a playmaker. Against Fast Advance, you kill their Fast Advance combo pieces. Against Wayland, you kill Nasty Ice or their Kill You combo pieces. Against Jinteki, you get to kill, again, combo pieces. And against NBN, you get to kill SanSans.
So is that a one-of in your deck?
It's a one-of, but it can be
yeah, that's sure. And you could get it back with Clone Chip, and yeah. That makes sense. That's great. I love seeing Imp. I think Imp is such a great card, and works really well in Shaper. Yeah, we got same old thing down.
And another reason that I run the Imp is I want to be able to present, because against Shaper, a lot of corps will do this. They won't ice HQ, especially if they've seen anything out. Like at this point, he knows my deck. But if he didn't, he'd seen the Mimic and the Data Suckers, and it's a pretty reasonable assumption I don't have account siphons in there. So not icing HQ is not a big problem. But
he's just going to throw any agenda he has down in that remote where you don't have a great way of getting in yet.
Or just keep it if there's 1 in 5 cards, and he'll be like, that's fine.
Sure.
Imp punishes that, and I have a one of legwork that I fit in that can be same old thing to also punish that.
He does have a what's it called? Not a refinery. The agenda that geothermal. He does have a geothermal in hand that you've just kind of been dancing around in all those accesses. So that's unfortunate, but that's going to happen. So it looks like you just went into archives with that dirty laundry.
Yes, I actually same old thinged for that because I was very low on credits and wanted to get over a critical threshold.
Sure, and you get the Data Sucker too, so that's still pretty efficient, and is the right play to make in a lot of cases. So you get a memory chip down. Memory chips are probably you don't have a console in this deck. Is that true?
I like saying that Shaper has a great console. It's 1 credit for 1 MU, and you get to run 3 of them.
Sure, or no credits with Kate's ability.
Yeah, or no credits, 0 credits for 1 MU with Kate. Pretty much all the times that I play it. So it's the best console next to Desperado at that rate. But yeah, none of the consoles with the new Astrolabe when it hits. I'll probably play one of in place of one of the Akamatsu Mem chips. But a lot of the times I want 2 MU, so I'd only run the 1 because I never want to draw just the 2 Astrolabes and then not be able to get to 6 MU.
Right. It functions the same way as the Akamatsu, and then if you happen to draw it early, it'll have that extra benefit that it'll give you.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so he's iced up at this point. He's at about, I don't know, 20, almost 30, no, like almost 20 credits or so.
Yep.
You're going to self-modify into HQ, it looks like, or run into HQ.
At this point, I know there's an agenda. He runs a lot of 1 points. He has a lot of agendas in the deck.
He decides not to res.
There's a good chance that it's a Archer or a Grim or something, and he knows that I run. I run Sharpshooter.
Ooh, you don't imp that, huh? Was that a misplay or?
Well, at this point, I have 4 cards in hand and the Blastcreed.
Okay, so you're not worried about it.
Yeah.
And you're certainly not going. Oh, that hurts a bit.
Yep. At this point, I'm a little bit unhappy with that. I would have preferred to kill it now. And this is one of the things that Supermodernism gets to do. Now I'm going to be able to clear the tag because I don't run on my last click against him.
But you are low on cards, so if he has the...
Yeah, if he had just happened to draw into, or if he had scored Atlases by this point, for the Sea Source Double Scorch, it would have killed me.
Looks like he only probably has the 1 Scorched Earth. It doesn't look like he has a Sea Source yet either. So, yeah. I mean, I think that definitely is a gamble, but you're really, with no Astroscripts, with no Atlases scored, it's a somewhat safe gamble. It's risky, but...
There's no way in a million years I'd have done it without the Blastcreed. But he clears virus counters. It gets rid of an imp and data suckers. It's the best. It's the right play. Absolutely. People don't clear virus counters enough. Like, if you have an ice on each server that you can res, and your opponent has 15 data sucker counters, you're probably doing something wrong if you're not clearing.
So this is interesting here. I think you might be right. That's an archer over HQ. What we're about to see, but he's really decide. Yeah. So he reses to archer, and do you have enough to clear it? So you spend two.
I have sharpshooter.
Okay, so you spend 2 there, and then you have 1 credit left. You install sharpshooter for free, and then is 1 credit enough with sharpshooter?
With the bad publicity.
With the bad publicity. Okay, cool. So 3. Yeah, that makes sense. So you had just enough to get through there.
Yep. Which is why I made the play. I called that as an archer a long time ago.
Yeah. That made just the way he was playing that. It definitely looked like an archer. Okay, and I think he does have. He still has that geothermal in hand. So let's see if you just get the Scorched Earths again. I think he might have had a false lead in hand as well at this point.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Doing its job of keeping me from grabbing an agenda.
I'm surprised he's not putting down the geothermal. It could be because, well, he might be worried that you're gonna parasite. There we go. So he puts the geo. He might be worried you're gonna parasite the Chimera, and maybe the ice in front is something you can get through with your mimic. Yeah. So you're testing that theory now.
Yep. I'm saying I have 3 credits. I don't believe that you have a Grim. But yeah, so I force him to res it. The parasite hits. I run again. And he just gives it to me.
Do you think that was an Astroscript then in front, or maybe a Grim?
Yeah, it might have been a Grim. And if it was a Grim, I'd have let it fire, no problem. But I mean, I just called it. I'm like, that's not an ETR. Because I'm asking myself the same question. I know he's had an agenda for a while. Why wasn't it in the server? And the answer I came up to during the match was, well, because it's got to not be an ETR. Otherwise, he would have.
Okay, so he res an ice wall over R&D, which stops you for the time being. But you probably have a Corroder in the deck. You're not going with Inti, are you?
No, I have Corroder in there. Unfortunately, over this time, he's also scored another hostile takeover. So now I have to be worried again. Now, the other thing that might have been was another archer on the remote, which at the time I made that run, he didn't have a second scored hostile.
Yes, so that is something you'll have to be aware of. Although a clone ship down will mitigate that threat entirely, because now you have 3 bad pub, so you just need a clone ship, and then you can get through an archer with your sharpshooter. Yep,
so as you can see, I have yet to draw into any clone ships.
You just had that one at the start, right? So yeah, you might have another in hand by now. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, he's 2 agendas in here now. He has an Atlas, and I think it's a false lead.
I don't believe I had a clone ship in hand earlier. I had a SMC, but I don't think I had a clone ship.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of the SMC. So I think he's trying to decide if he puts the Atlas down, and he is, I think he's double advancing it.
Yep.
So yeah, you're probably right. That does look like an archer, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now, but as you can see, I just haven't been able to get any clone ships out. So.
And he only puts 1 advancement token on. I missed what his first click was. Maybe he drew.
I think it was a voluntary draw.
Okay. He might have drawn the Atlas, actually. I didn't quite notice. Yep. Okay, so you get a Corroder down.
Yep. And I trashed the Imp. Just extra value. Now if I play a clone ship, I can grab a Imp at quick speed.
All right, yeah, and you're getting free accesses there with the bad pub.
Yep. Unfortunately, my luck is not as well. And here you see the thing. I could have run again, but if I were to hit a snare...
Too risky. Yeah, you don't have the money to clear the tag.
Yeah.
Well, you're at 6 points now, so it's looking pretty good. And it looks like you're at 4 cards. I think he's just constantly asking you how many cards you have.
Yep. Well, he doesn't have to. I know what's up. And yeah, at this point it's like, ugh.
So now he has his Sea Source, or his second Scorched Earth there on the table.
Yep.
Oh, going to Maker's Eye. Very nice. And unfortunately, you don't see anything, but that was good timing on that.
Yep. And that is where the lack of Gabe luck, when you're not running Gabe, you just don't get the magical pulls quite the same way.
Oh, you've had some pretty good pulls here. I guess that geothermal was hiding in HQ for a long time. You didn't have good pulls on that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a clone ship.
Yep, I'm obviously ecstatic to find that now.
So your economy situation is not great, but you at the same time ignoring the scorched earth problem, Oh, I thought he played a sea source there.
No,
I was like, what's going on?
No, he plays anonymous tip instead of Jackson Howard.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that is controversial, but he plays it for a very specific reason. Right now, he's drawing for what he needs, which is ice.
It's much faster in this case to use the anonymous tip.
Yeah. For the one click, he gets to draw 3 cards. And for one click, you would not be drawing any cards with Jackson. You would need to spend 2, and you would only get the 2.
You need to spend a total of 3 clicks to actually draw a total of 3 cards. So yeah, it's okay. So you get a pre-pad. This is a little bit late in the game for it, but hey, it still helps.
Yeah, I run the 3 so that I can get one early. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. And as you can see, from when I had to use same old thing to recur a dirty laundry, I just haven't been drawing any economic events.
So what do you like? You have a pretty good position here in the game. What are you worried about at this point? Are you concerned about anything?
He can win the game extremely quickly from this position. If that's if that's another Atlas or a geothermal, and he scores it, he can just score it. Then he can fetch with Atlas. If it's an Atlas, he's actually basically won the game at this point. Because there's no way I can get through that server. He'll have 2 Atlas tokens, and he can fetch 2 hostile takeovers and win the game.
I think the hostile takeovers are all scored at this point, though.
Oh, right. You're right. But at this point, I don't think I realized that.
I see.
So what's going through my head at this point is, oh god, I think I'm just going to lose to 2 Atlas counters.
But he could still leverage... Oh, so that's a false lead.
Yeah.
And that is
Instead,
definitely...
it's a false lead, but we actually end up in a very similar situation, because now he's up to 4. So what he's actually going to do,
I think I could guess.
Yeah, is that he can Atlas for government contracts.
Right.
Which is his 1/5/3 in his deck of choice, so that he can win the game from this
And with
position.
3 ice down, he has a pretty good chance of stopping you there.
Yep, and he only needs to stop me for 1 turn. Unfortunately, I don't have a plan for getting in. I just don't have any way to do it.
Right. Well, you're going to look for something now, at least.
Yeah. So I dig like mad.
A burst of economy, I think, is what I'd be wanting here if I was you. And
Absolutely. Unfortunately, a little bit too slow.
You do have some data suckers, and you have a parasite in the trash. So that clone ship could come into play in that way, and you also have the sharpshooter. So those clone ships are a big threat at the very least. Something that he really has to consider when making this play.
Yeah, I really think I'm basically having failed to draw 1 hedge fund or similar card from winning the game at this point, because I'm just shy that many credits. Because I also have Atman in the trash. So between Atman and Sharpshooter and 2 clone ships, I can get through any server, but I need like 8 or 9 credits to do it.
Right. And you haven't probed R&D yet again. I'm curious what the ice in front there is. You might have an easy way in with that bad pub.
Yeah. It's a big mystery, but right now I have to respect the possibility of Grim. I only have 2 data sucker counters. And, I guess I have 2 data sucker counters in the Mimic. So that could also be where one of the archers are. He runs 3.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you're worried about... I mean, I don't know what you're actually worried about, but I don't think you should be worried about program trashing right now, just because you are in a good position to counter that. Ooh, so here is the possible government contracts.
Yep. And unfortunately, here's the situation where he just top decks the government contracts. So he doesn't even need to use his Atlas counter. Which means my previous thinking... So at this point, I don't realize this. I'm a bit on tilt from getting destroyed in the first match, and it's slipping through my fingertips here. And I'm thinking maybe I want to get him to res an archer so that he doesn't win by winning with the government contracts. Not realizing, since he hadn't had to spend that Atlas token to do it, he can fetch the 3rd hostile takeover with the Atlas token.
No, I don't think there's a 3rd hostile, because I think
he runs the full 3.
No, but I think you've scored 1. He's scored 1 that he used to res archer, and then he has the other one in his score pile right now. So
Oh.
I believe all 3 hostile takeovers have already been scored. I could be wrong, but
Okay. Okay. Well, I was at least as confused during the game as I am right now.
fair enough. This was
it's
after,
okay.
2.5 full matches, so
Yeah.
that stuff happens.
And the board state's incredibly complicated.
Yes, that's a nice way of putting it. So you go into archives there, I guess, just trying to get him to res something.
Yeah. Having to play around snare and the cease and respect cease 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 the cease and respect cease.
So what is going on here exactly? You're using the data suckers for a parasite, maybe? Yeah, it looks like you just parasited the Enigma away. Oh, and there's another Enigma. Are you still there? Hello? Okay, it looks like I might have lost Seth there, so I'm just going to finish off this game here. And so he's running on R&D, and he is on the remote server, and that Enigma is going to stop him unless if he comes up with something. He might be able to Ottman through it with a clone chip, but then it's pretty risky moving forward past through that server. Because there might be something like a Grim there, and he wouldn't have a clone chip to get the sharpshooter. So I think he lets that end his run, and now he's going on R&D, and the Chimera stops him. Are you back with us, Seth? Ah, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you got back online pretty quick. I've just been continuing with this game, so I'll let you know where we're at. Okay, he just scored out the government contracts, so that finishes the game off. So yeah, you made some exploratory runs there towards the end of the game, but he was able to kind of shut you out with enigmas and. All right, well that finishes off the game, the second game there. It was a close one. But he was able to leverage his economy there at the end to score out the government contracts. So do you want to say anything else about that game? Oh, yes, that's right. The Seth is, I'm talking to him, I hear him, but you don't hear him because we lost the recording. I hope, does that mean we lost the whole recording? Okay, so hopefully we didn't lose all the recording. Anyway, I'm just gonna end it there. Seth had a power outage there towards the end, but that was the game. That is the end of the third match, and we'll have more games for you soon. Thanks for watching.